Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing a face that isn't quite yours. A face with a glowering brow, a receding chin, and a body built like a tank. Just 300,000 years ago, a mere blink in the history of our planet, Earth was a crowded stage where at least 9 different species of humans lived, breathed, and fought for survival. Today, we are the only ones left. We are the solo act in a theater that used to be full of life, which raises one of the most haunting mysteries in our story. Where did everyone else go? For a long time, we told ourselves a simple story. We were the smartest, the strongest, and the most evolved, so we simply replaced our primitive cousins. But new science is exploding that myth. It turns out that species like the Neanderthals were incredibly capable, surviving in the freezing European tundra for hundreds of thousands of years. There were Hobbits, tiny humans standing only 3 feet tall, thriving on islands in Indonesia. There were the mysterious Denisovans in the high, thin air of Tibet, and even a dragon man in China. Each had their own tools, their own languages, and their own cultures.
So why are we the last human standing? The answer might not be found in our muscles or even our individual brain size, but in something much more subtle, our social life. Scientists have used computer models to simulate the lives of these ancient humans, and a striking pattern emerged. Early Homo sapiens tended to live in much larger, more connected groups than our cousins, while Neanderthals were often divided into many small, isolated bands of maybe 20 to 30 people. Homo sapiens formed wide networks of up to 150 individuals. Think of this social structure as an evolutionary insurance policy. In a world of unpredictable climate shifts and supervolcanoes, having a wide network meant that if your local valley ran out of food, the people over the next mountain weren't your enemies. They were your kin. You could move into their territory, share their resources, and trade ideas. The Neanderthals and others, living in their small, tight-knit groups, were far more vulnerable. When a crisis hit, there was no one to call for help. We can see this play out in the real world through the story of the Hobbits, or Homo floresiensis. For over 1 million years, they lived in a cave refuge on the island of Flores. They hunted juvenile pygmy elephants and made stone tools. But about 61,000 years ago, a massive, multi-generational drought began to dry up the island's primary water sources. The pygmy elephants began to migrate toward the coast in search of water, and the hobbits had to follow their food. This move likely brought them out of their safe hideaway and straight into the path of a new, expanding species: us.
Another example of our unfair advantage is surprisingly small: the sewing needle. While Neanderthals were masterful hunters of big game, they used simple, draped clothing. Homo sapiens, meanwhile, invented the needle, allowing us to sew tightly sealed, multi-layered tents and tailored clothing. This seemingly minor innovation meant we could keep our babies warmer during the brutal Ice Age winters. Over thousands of years, a slightly higher infant survival rate is enough to tip the entire balance of power.
But there is an even darker theory. Some researchers point to the African advantage, the idea that Homo sapiens brought tropical diseases and parasites with them as they moved into Eurasia. Species like the Neanderthals, who had no natural immunity to these new pathogens, might have been decimated by epidemics that we survived. It's a pattern we've seen in more recent history when different human civilizations meet for the first time. However, here is the real mind-blower, the insight that challenges everything we thought we knew about extinction. Our cousins didn't actually disappear in the way we usually think. They didn't just vanish into the shadows. They walked into our lives and stayed there.
Through genomic sequencing,
we have discovered that Homo sapiens didn't just compete with Neanderthals and Denisovans, we interbred with them. If you are of European or Asian descent, you carry about 2% Neanderthal DNA in your bones right now. If you are from Oceania, your genome may be up to 6% Denisovan. We even find traces of a ghost ancestor in the DNA of people in West Africa, a human species we haven't even found fossils for yet. This changes the entire narrative. We didn't just win a war of replacement, we absorbed our cousins into our own gene pool. They are still here, living inside our cells, influencing our immune systems, our skin color, and even our daily routines. Some of the genes we inherited from them actually helped us survive, giving us the tools to handle new climates and local diseases as we spread across the globe. So, what does this mean for us today? The story of the vanished human species is a reminder that our greatest strength isn't our individual brilliance, but our ability to cooperate and connect. We survived because we were the most social, the most adaptable, and the most willing to mix with the other. We are the ultimate human mashup, a living record of every group that came before us. As we face our own modern challenges, from climate change to global pandemics, the lesson of our cousins is clear. The groups that cooperate are the ones that get through. We are the last human species left, but we carry the legacy of all the others within us. Now, I want to hear from you. If you could bring one of these lost human species back for just one day to talk to them, which one would you choose? Would you want to meet a Neanderthal hunter, a tiny hobbit from Flores, or the mysterious dragon man? And more importantly, what is the one question you would ask them? Let me know in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation about our shared history going.